in the raw. RK is Guyana Free Media, and I'm your friend, your brother, Haji Dr. Ocean Can in the raw. So, the maniac is on his maniacal behavior, Maduro. He is locking up those who are challenging him, ensuring that they cannot win an election. They can't even register, making it extremely difficult so he can keep himself in power. And this is why all this madness, to my opinion, to show that ESSEQUIBO is a state of Venezuela. He went to enact a law contrary to international law. He went in his country and enacted a law which is referred to as an organic law, but not an international realistic law, which is to pull wool over the eyes of his people. He had lost the referendum because less than just over 2 million of 26 million people went to vote. So most of those 2 million voted for him, but 26 didn't, which means they have no respect for him. He is an unloved leader, starving his people who come to Guyana for food, for medicine, for compassion. Guyana takes many of them, but he also sends in between of them criminal elements and his people to create confusion. Remember, each citizen of Venezuela has to serve 2 years in the military. So they are usually well trained, well versed, very cruel, very bitter people as well. Even though we might feed them, they might turn around and cut our tail. Remember, we had cases where on their vehicles, they were putting maps to show that ESSEQUIBO was part of Venezuela in our country, tolerated by our government, by our vice president, by our president, tolerated in our country. And this is where I was disappointed with my government. They spoke about it, but they never prosecuted any of them or ever deported any of them. They're sweet guys. Our government are just sweet guys. I was taught by a Jewish gentleman in the United States of America, whom I used to provide a trucking service for. He said, why you didn't do this? I said, because I tried to help the other guys. He said, why? I said, because I'm a nice guy. Then he said, well, Mr. Khan, nice guys finish last. So our government needs to be very serious with these Venezuelans. They're not here because they love us. They're here to use us. They're using out our medical system. They're occupying every spot we have for business and commerce. So, and if our Guyanese people go, to compete or be near them, they chish them away in our country. Mr. President, Dr. Irfan Ali, Mr. VP, Dr. Barrett Jackdale. Abide by international law. This is from the Guyana Chronicle, April 7th, Sunday, today of recording. The Commonwealth Secretary General, Patricia Scotland, has echoed the concern of President Dr. Irfan Ali and its neighbor, that its neighbor will move to seize Guyana ESSEQUIBO following the decision by Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro to promulgate the organic law for the defense of ESSEQUIBO. In rejecting this latest move by Guyana's neighbor, well, he can't be a neighbor. A neighbor is a person who is your friend. We are a friend because we are feeding his people that he cannot feed. What a low-life leader of a nation. He can't feed his people, and he's so without shame, Maduro. I hope your embassy send these things to you. What a disgraceful, dirt, low-life man you are. Your people hate you, and you're blocking them from even voting. even to stand a chance. You don't stand a chance. You're such a coward and a lowlife, Maduro. In rejecting this latest move by Guyana's neighbor, the Commonwealth Secretary General called on fellow Commonwealth member states to lend Guyana support in this time of need. By this new law, Venezuela purports to exercise control over 2/3 of the sovereign territory of Guyana. Now, we got to remember, they have stamps, old stamps. We have markers. They publish their stamps showing that ESSEQUIBO is ours. Oh yes. And we have stamps showing that ESSEQUIBO is ours. But just because he thinks this will help him to win an election, he's going on with this idiotic behavior. This legislation appears to create a new state of Venezuela, and the head of state of Venezuela will have the power to elect a governor, and the National Assembly of Venezuela will have legislative functions in this territory also. Don't forget, we the people will become guerrilla warriors, and any one of their people anywhere, we will turn like the Palestinians. Guerrilla warfare, and like what was done in Vietnam, and we will have to do what we have to do to ensure that they will be frustrated and annoyed, and they will run away. Also, all political maps of Venezuela will now include a state of Guyana Essequibo. So their maps will show that, even though the maps were always showing that Guyana is Guyana. We know England will not allow this, nor the United States, nor the EU. In a statement, no country in the world, including France and Spain, is supporting him, even though it was a Spanish country. So Spain is on our side, France is on our side, the EU is on our side, the United Nations is on our side. In a statement issued on Saturday, the Secretary General said yesterday, on 5th April 2024, I received a letter from His Excellency Dr. Irfan Mohammed Ali, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. President Ali is concerned that Venezuela's next move would be to implement a plan for the seizure of Guyana's sovereign territory. This is why I was saying, remember, we are fasting, ladies and gentlemen. Personally, I have a coin that says the United Colonies of Essequibo and Demerara. Berbice was not included at that time. So Essequibo was already demarcated, and they were very happy and they were celebratory. And they got some extras that should have been ours, including the entire Orinoco. We have just a very little piece. They got all of that. In a statement issued on Saturday, the Secretary General said she received that letter. The Secretary General reiterated the decision of the International Court of Justice, whom on December 1st, 2023, unanimously indicated its order on provisional measures on the dispute between Guyana and Venezuela. It states, pending the court's final decision in the case, the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela shall refrain from taking any action which would modify the situation that currently prevails in the territory in dispute, whereby the Cooperative Republic of Guyana administers and exercises control over that area. As such, she noted that this latest move by Venezuela directly flouts the order of the ICJ. Venezuela's latest action appear to directly contravene the ICJ order and also the spirit of the declaration of 2023 Joint Declaration of the Argyle for Dialogue and Peace between Guyana and Venezuela, where both states agreed to use international laws and diplomatic means to address the controversy and to refrain from escalating the conflict. The Commonwealth affirms that ICJ process is the appropriate and lawful means to address the matter under international law. The Secretary General cited the December 11, 2023 outcome statement of the Commonwealth Ministerial Group on Guyana, as well as her prior remarks on the subject from November 1st and December 1st, 2023. She also referred to the concluding statements of the 64th meeting of the Commonwealth Ministerial Action Group issued on March 12, 2024. I am encouraged by the firm and consistent support for the entire Commonwealth family, for the government and people of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. I also call on member states to give whatever support they may feel appropriate to Guyana in this time of need. I offer my continued support and that of the Commonwealth to help resolve the matter by peaceful means. The Commonwealth Secretary General urged the government and people of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela to abide by the principles of international law and manage the dispute in ways that guarantee the peace and stability of the Caribbean region. The border between Guyana and Venezuela was settled by an arbitral tribunal on October 3rd, 1899, but on the event of Guyana's independence in 1966, Venezuela repudiated the award which it had upheld for more than 60 years. So it was promulgated since October 3rd, 1899, accepted, but now, after 60 years, they now have problems with it. Decades of talks failed to settle the controversy, and the United Nations Secretary General, in keeping with an agreement in Geneva, which Venezuela signed on to, referred the matter to the International Court of Justice. In provisional measures, as I approach the end, granted last December, the court ruled that Guyana has governed and exercised sovereignty over 83,000 square miles, determined as its territory in 1899, and that should not change unless the court determines otherwise in its ultimate ruling. So I gave you my take there, ladies and gentlemen. I have another aspect I want to read, but I'm feeling a bit tired. But it has to do with Guyana's partners' outrage at Venezuela recent action. Dr. Jagdev says, affirms that Guyana is not going to let its guard down. So this is another section I have to read and discuss and give you my take by VP, former President, Dr. Barrett Jagdev. Your friend, your brother, Haji, Dr. Roshan Khan, Inda. Say thank you.